Hello, everyone. Welcome to Cyberskillfarm. I'm with Ray and Chester. So he is a cloud associate manager. So we will have a brief background about a cloud.
If you get value from videos like this and want more, smash that like button and subscribe to get updates on the new content. If there's specific topic or skill in IT you want to learn, comment below and we'll check it out.
Ches, how did you start your career in IT?
Yes. Hi, Grace and Ray.
Hi.
Um, well, thanks for the question. And the way I started my career in IT, to be honest, I didn't really consciously chose IT. Based on my educational background, I'm from an engineering profession. So I got into one of the telco companies here in the Philippines. And it so happened that that team, it was part of the Network Operations Center. So it started there. I was a Linux admin for the NOC. Although when I joined that company, I was actually leaning towards the networking side of things because at that time, that was really the peak of the certification for network. So, and then, things fell through one after the other, and here I am, I'm handling cloud as part of my IT profession.
Yes, nice. So, what motivated you to pursue or change careers in IT? So, from telco or
Well, following through, right, from my first response, I didn't really decide the IT field. What I probably wanted to share is what's important is that you understand where your passion is. What are the things that really interest you? Because at the end of the day, whether it's IT or not, you really have to be in it for your job, right? For your profession. Then it doesn't become a work anymore. It becomes your day-to-day life. And as we know, right, most of our time really spent on our jobs, on our work. So targeting something that you really wanted to do. For me, it just so happened that I'm really a technical person, so I delve more on the technical side of things. Um, that's one of the things that I considered when moving from one company to the other. If I don't find myself doing any more technical stuff, or I stop learning, then I move. It so happened that I was able to go with the flow of the changing environments in terms of the IT field, right? Because there's a lot of things IT, uh, and it could be seen everywhere in someone's day-to-day life today, especially today, right? So I guess that's what motivated me. It's like moving out of my comfort zone, and then understanding the fact that I really want to do this kind of job moving forward.
yes, I agree with that. And then, were there people who helped you along the way in your career in IT?
Well, in my career, right, and probably in general as well,
Yeah, in general.
there's always an importance in terms of a mentor in your career, in your
Yes.
work. I have had several good mentors. They were the key people who influenced my leadership in IT career, in the field of IT. What do you do next? What's the next step to help you grow further? So they really there's a quite number of them, and the important thing is that me as a person, I try to leverage all of their lessons in life. At the end of the day, if we are able to maintain our relationship with the mentors, and then there's this statement that I always remember, right? For us to understand or to realize that we are in a progressive uh, advancement, right? Is that the next generation of people of IT are better than the current ones. So how how can we do that is by leveraging the lessons learned by our seniors, right? So the mentors that helped me along the way were key people uh, into developing the characteristics and attitudes that I able to provide to the IT profession today.
Okay, so uh, what career positions did you experience so far? Then, yeah, how are you able to transition from that role? Yeah.
Interesting question for me because when we talk about position, I've had several, like really several. So out of college, right, out of the academic realm, I joined a telecommunications company. But then I work as a Linux administrator. But then I started working improving my skills on the network domain. Anyway, it was part of my academic curriculum. So I moved into network, and then I was interviewed for by another company for a Linux again. So going back to Linux from network, and it was a good opportunity, and I took it. So even though I was interviewed for a Linux system administrator, my first role was a network administrator again. So um, after that, I moved to virtualization slash Windows, and then I handled a data center services team, meaning I was looking after the deliveries of storage and backup, Linux, Windows, VMware, uh, and database, so Oracle and SQL database. It was a huge team of data center services. After that, that's the time I moved to cloud role, right? So cloud architecting, implementation, design and build, and stuff. The transition, I think, what's important to mention, personally, in my opinion, is that we should understand that uh, IT or technology in itself, it's always changing. It doesn't really stop at, skill set one, and that's it. So whether we want to pursue this career further or not, right? We need to be able to keep up with the pace of the change in the demands in the IT field. So the way I do it is that the moment that I realize that there's already something out there in the market that's new, for example, cloud, I already start looking for opportunities to learn. So it's just about keeping yourself at the current pace or probably at the front door of each of the new technologies being released. Because at the end of the day, what we need to realize as an IT profession is that we are here to deliver IT service for the business. We are here to help the business, right? So whether it's through Windows, Linux admin, network, or cloud, we should be able to understand what each of those roles are providing to the business. So if there are new skill set that needs to be understand or learned along the way, then I actually try to learn in advance. Sometimes I see discounts in public uh, learning materials. So I think it's what also keeps my interest going. So you don't get stuck at one pace and then just continue learning. That's what will keep us at the forefront of the IT field.
Yes. So I think you answered already the basic task per role a while ago. Or can you elaborate
Uh,
more? Yeah.
Probably we can expand further, right? So
Yeah.
for Linux, it's one of the founding roles even before the cloud was introduced. But more importantly, right, for Linux admin, aside from troubleshooting issues, and this I think for me this comes true as well for other roles. You should be able to understand the foundation of the technology. So when I say Linux admin, I need to understand how a Linux operating system works. In that way, you should be able to fulfill your basic role to administer and manage the operating system. If there are issues and you understand the basic of a Linux operating system, then you can leverage that to, be able to pinpoint the issue. Um, Usually, the trouble or one of the main tasks right now of a Linux admin is, aside from maintaining the server uptime, is to support any application that's running on the Linux server, right? And for a network administrator, which was one of my previous roles, it's about maintaining the connectivity. But nowadays, with the ever-changing landscape of IT, it has never been just the connectivity now. It's always connectivity and security, right? So that's
Yes.
becoming part of the network admin role now. In the cloud, uh, it's bits and pieces of everything. We have storage, compute, network. We have identities as well. We have backup, etc. So it's like being able to deliver most of the parts of the infrastructure using the cloud platform. So I think that's my high level summary of each of the roles that I've gone through so far.
Yes. I think also that also a benefit to your existing role right now, the Linux and the network part.
It does, and it does. I mean, I agree. To be honest, that's probably a key like an asset for me because I've been through a lot of the technologies that are used in the on-premise domain, right? The private data centers, and each of those are represented now on the cloud. But since I've got bits and pieces of all of these things as well, yeah, yeah, I think that's good. Good
Yeah,
point. Yeah,
it's the continuous learning and the hunger to learn and cope up with the advanced technologies right now.
yeah.
So, what common problems or challenges did you encounter so far? So, if it's okay to
Well,
you to cite some.
I mean, right now, the demands or the challenges are actually in regards to integration. Many vendors in the IT landscape offer their own versions of this product, this kind of database, this kind of operating system. But really, when we integrate all of these technologies together, we will most probably hit some issues, right? So integration, problems in integrations, and then probably some challenges in the product issues itself. For example, the product, it's either obsolete, you don't really have the right vendor support at the moment, or it's very new, such that there really isn't any available documentation for you to refer, right? So if it's something new, it's just barely few people used it as of this time. So the issues that may come out of it may not be documented as much as we wanted it to for our references. And then there are also those problems in terms of architecture. Uh, right now, there is the term that we call the app modernization. It's actually using Kubernetes, right? It has a very abstract way of making different applications work together. So understanding those things from a cloud perspective, right? Most of the things are actually abstracted. So understanding that is probably one of the general items that I would say becoming a problem or challenges, maybe just about right because you are yet to find out the answer, right?
Yes, it's very useful to me because yeah, I'm currently learning Linux and Kubernetes, some
Yeah,
orchestration tools we
it's
need
good
to
stuff.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the cloud. So we all know that clouds has a diverse. There's storage, there's servers, there's network, but there is also
Hmm.
a specialization like you're going to solutions architect, cloud security architect. So, what's your point of view? Are you leaning towards a generalist or you prefer to become a specialist?
It's probably a difficult question for me. I mean, I haven't really thought of it that way. For me, it's about understanding cloud in general, understanding what the business needs from the cloud. If these things points you right to the direction of being a technical architect, a solutions architect, then so be it. But my point is, It's about what the business needs today. If the business needs agility, then we go with cloud DevOps, right? If the business needs architecture or modernization of their infrastructure, then that's cloud architecture, or and so on. So probably I would say that that will depend on what the business that I'm supporting at the moment will need. So most of the work that I've done so far are in cloud architecture and DevOps.
Okay. Yes, I agree. Then next, if you can travel back in time and give advice to your younger self, what will it be?
Um, I normally don't have idea. I mean, I at this point in time, right, in this career, I honestly don't have any regrets because I mean I am where I am, and I'm happy with the opportunities
Yes.
that were presented. But probably for the purposes of discussion and probably for the people that will be listening in, right, is that for me, one of the most important things that a younger version should know is that uh, the younger you are, the more opportunities for you to learn. So
Yes.
don't think that you'll not be able to do this kind of work. You're not fit for this one. So don't be afraid to try these things. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. At the end of the day, when you're 30, the totality of your expertise is actually about how much mistakes you made. Because when you make mistakes, it's actually a good
Yes,
one as
I
well for
agree.
you because it actually points out to what you need to learn at that point in time. So there will be it's a win-win for me. So for those people listening in their still in their college education, right? So just learn as much as you can, make mistakes as much as you can. Um, it's not about uh, what you try to achieve, right? But it's probably about living your life to the fullest. So sometimes when you're already at the later part of adulthood, you will think back and then you will realize that I could have tried this at that time. Maybe something today is different. So just don't be afraid to try, learn, make mistakes. That's part of it, right? So it's a general idea of learning, I guess, for me.
Okay. Thank you for the advice, especially to we are empowering IT professionals. So, what do you think the top three skills we need today or as a cloud engineer?
Well, for me, first one is being resourceful. Um, Cloud vendors, as we know, right, they have their own sets of products, features. They have their own technologies on abstracting a traditional data center for a pay-as-you-go service, for example. But being resourceful will help you keep up with the ever-changing landscape of cloud platform. Maybe after 2 months, 3 months, after a quarter, half a year, right? There will be something different on the cloud, maybe on the UI, maybe additional service. So you keep reading, try to leverage as much resources as you can. And then second one for me, it's hard work, right? If you're resourceful, you find the right materials for your references, maybe architectures or white papers, then you add hard work. So because it's not it doesn't mean that you found the material, you already know what it means. You have to go through it, understand it, apply it, and then learn from it. So that will require hard work. And then probably last third one is that it's important that after you've done being resourceful, doing hard work stuff, right? You should realize and you should know when to ask for help, right? So I think for me, if you've did your part, you really tried to understand, resolve something, understand something, and then you still couldn't do it, no problem there, right? But what's important is that you should know when to ask for help. Otherwise, you'll get stuck. So there will be issues in the business. Again, this is about the business, right? So yeah, I think that those three for me.
Yes, thank you. I think Ray has questions more about specifically for cloud.
Go ahead.
Hi, Chester. Actually, most of a few of my questions have already been answered uh, by your answers earlier. And thank you so much for sharing your insights. That's really part from you. We're building this channel really to empower the next generation of IT professionals. I have one more question. It's more on the leadership part, the managerial side of
Mm,
things. And you mentioned earlier that you came from a technical background and you love the technical aspect of the work, as do I. I
yeah.
love building things. So coming from that background, transitioning to a managerial role or leadership role where people depend on you and the team depends on you, how was that transition like in your experience?
Well, I honestly, in my personal experience, there will come a time that you realize that you're able to adapt um, when being resourceful, then the hard work becomes your habit. You will realize that you're able to adapt to the new technologies coming out in the market, and then once you realize that, you'll find out that maybe you can do something more. Maybe you can influence, guide junior IT professionals, right? And I think to be able to guide them properly, it's still important to keep yourself up to the current technical requirements of things. At the end of the day, uh, when junior IT folks are not able to do stuff right, they will still go to you, even if you're on the career management level for example managerial, right, supervisory. You're still expected to understand these technical things and to be able to better mold the team. Uh, because for me, the key founding block for a team, right, are the people itself. So how are we going to keep them improving, progressing if we're not able to on our own by ourselves, right? We're not able to keep ourselves on pace in the current pace, the new technologies. So it's probably a marry of both, probably a mix of managerial and technical still, and being able to use both of those two things to blend them together and give the actual guidance to the team. I don't know if that sounded good or not, but I hope people will understand.
Yeah, I think that was really quite insightful, as well as what you've said earlier, right, regarding a specialist and generalist. It's really about what the business needs, and
Yes.
I totally agree with that. And for me, this is all I have to say. Thank you so much, Grace, Chester, and here at Cyberskillfarm, we're trying our best to really empower IT professionals.